Hey everyone, Dominic here, bringing you another Ravening Report. This time we've got Vampire Covenant versus the Beast Herds. The deployment type we played for this one was Counter Thrust, with Capture the Flags as the secondary. Let's get started. So a quick look at deployment here for the Beast Herds. He's got a unit of Centaurs, who are going to be sober for this game. He's got a Centaur Chieftain BSB back here. I believe he's a Greater Totem Bear. He's got a Gortok up front. He's got a Minotaur Warlord, who is his general. He's got a unit of Wild Horns with the Strength Banner. He's got his Soothsayer Wizard Master of Shamanism back there. He's got some Minotaurs with paired weapons up here. Another Gortok, and another unit of Wild Horns with the Strength Banner. On his other flank over here, he also has another unit of Centaurs who are also going to be sober for this game. For Vampire Covenant, I have got a unit of 5 Vampire Knights with full command and the Ether icon, a unit of 4 Bat Swarms, a Varkalak. I've got a unit of, I think there's 30, maybe just 30 zombies in that unit. There's also a corpse card in there, and the army general, who is a independent count with the flying horror upgrade, paired weapons, touch of greatness, wizard master of evocation, and I think he's got the eternity gem. I don't quite remember how I had this guy loaded up. Maybe eternity gem and the talisman of shielding, I think. Either way, another unit of Bat Swarms here. Next to that, I have my Altar of Undeath, unit of 10 Direwolves, another unit of, looks like 31 zombies with Battery Musician. Over here, I have another unit of 5 Vampire Knights with full command and the Ether icon. And rounding it out, I have over here, that I kind of missed, I've got a second Vampire count. This guy is kitted out to basically pick one model, and he's got the cursed icon. So he re-rolls failed hit and wound rolls against that, as well as he's got multiple wounds 2 against Gigantic. I picked the Gortok that he's got right up here as the unit, and we did a little bit of Vanguards. My Varkalak moves up over here to face the far flank of that one unit of Centaurs. Since they are going to be scoring for this game, I figure I might as well go pick those up right away. He moves one unit of Centaurs up here, and he moves his other ones behind this piece of impassable terrain, just blocking this line of sight here, essentially. They did end up dropping, and they took turn 1. So here's his push. He moves a Gortok up onto the hill, just onto the hill, moves this other one directly right in front of me here, and then slowly moves the rest of his lines. What he did with this unit in the back, actually, he reformed on the spot, and he's going to head off in this direction over here, try and sweep around and get at the zombies. These Centaurs here moved out of arc of sight. You can kind of see the template there of the Knights. I always forget how fast these guys can move, and I always leave them. I always end up leaving them room to wiggle around me. But that's his lines. It goes into magic. He brings a Totemic Summons right here within 10 inches of the board, puts it and chaffs up the Vampire Knights. And he also got the plus D3 plus 1 movement on the Gortok, just so that charging down that hill is going to be pretty easy for him. Other than that, that's kind of how things are looking as we go into turn 1 for Vampire Covenant. So he left me I think this was a 17 or 18. Yeah, 17, because I needed 10 on the dice. So we declare that charge, and with nothing really better to do, because of that movement, we just get rid of this chaff as well. I get lucky over here, roll the 10, they make it in, and the rest of my line moves up. I set up this here with that chaff in front of the Gortok. What I didn't see when I put this here, though, is this is still a pretty close charge, so he's going to move those Minotaurs back in my backfield right away. With those Centaurs on the far flank being taken care of, I move the Gortok over here to go after some rank and file dudes. Maybe if he doesn't get any Shamanism spells off, maybe go after that Wizard, but I know that that guy's got that icon of re-roll your 2 wound rolls against it, so he's a tough nut to crack. We go into Magic Phase. We get off Hasten the Hour. We try and knock off a guy here. I believe he lets that go off, kills the unit champ. And that was pretty much it. We go into combat here. We wipe out the Centaurs. We overrun like so. And we wipe out that spawn and just pivot on the spot. So start of Beastard's turn 2. He does this charge down the hill. And like I said, he's going to bring this Gortok and the Minotaurs into the Direwolves. And they both make it, including this Gortok over here. This is kind of how the table is shaping up from the other side. So like I said, he's continuing to move this block infantry here to go after some zombies, holding these guys back, and he's holding these guys back because he knows that these guys at the very least are kind of easy points to scoop up for the secondary. So just another overview of the table, and he goes into magic. He does the swarm of insects over here, kills a few zombies. That's fine. And he puts another another totemic summons right up in front of the secondary vampire count. I absolutely hate this spell. So he also gets Awaken the Beast off on the Minotaurs. I believe this was for resilience on them. He does the breath attack, didn't do any wounds. Impact hits, and then just wipes him right out. He goes for the overrun. These guys overran, and they just missed the zombies by about an inch. And the angling of them is actually pretty good for me as well. This guy also comes out. Actually, no, this guy restrained his... He just stayed right there, I believe. Over here, surprisingly, he doesn't do as much damage as I thought he was going to do. And I put a couple wounds on him. So after crumbles, that's kind of how things are looking. And this is going to be the start of my turn too. So like I said, this kind of left me in an interesting position because this unit is actually on his flank. I mean, there's still 2 Minotaurs there, but even with just 2 Minotaurs, I'm still bringing a decent amount of close combat res. So I'm going to declare this on the flank. The vampire count here, since these guys are right up in there, I'll go in the front, and hopefully he'll charge into a couple wounds just to add to this combat. But just for safe measure, we're going to go into the flank with the altar too, and hopefully impact hits can do a little bit of damage. The Varkalak is going to charge into the Wild Horns here, and that's pretty much it. I bring the Corpse Cart over here just to get within 6 of this unit. I want to make sure we get as much benefit of that 5+ the first round as we can. And there's that one. I move up the bats here. This unit wasn't really doing much, but over here I'm kind of blocking his chariot from making this charge over here, as well as he's got a Centaur Chieftain over there. He doesn't want to get tied up on bats for a while, so a little bit of threat right there. The Vampire Knights just pivot on the spot, come over here, and we go into Magic Phase. So we bring a bunch of zombies knowing I'm going to lose a bunch. And we also get Ancestral Aid on the secondary vampire count. We go into combat. Surprisingly, he does a couple wounds to me. He doesn't do that much, actually, but I did put the final wounds on him. And now we're facing over here. And I think I actually made a vampiric roll as well. Because this guy was... I think it was just the unit champion left. But got one guy with a wound back. So over here, we kill the totemic summons, no problem. Make that overrun into here. He issues a challenge, I accept, and I just wipe the floor with the unit champion. We continue fighting it out. He does do quite a bit of damage to the zombies, but with all that static res, I do win, and he breaks. Unfortunately, we don't catch him, and even more unfortunately, the Altar of Undeath just barely failed this overrun into the Gortok, which means that he's going to get the overrun, or the charge, plus the overrun into my backfield here. So that's how things are looking as we go into turn 3 for Beast Herds. Oh, sorry, we had this combat. This one goes on. I did max damage, and he's steadfast and he sticks. So yeah, that's how the table looks. We can start turn 3. So he was thinking about doing this charge here. We remembered that this is actually going to be a impossible one here, so didn't want to get tied down with the bats. So decides not to do that one. The Warlord goes into these knights, and the Gortok goes into here. What he does instead with his chariot is, since it can just barely fit, it goes into the Altar of Undeath as well. They both make it. The Warlord, though, he fails his charge roll. Minotaurs rally, and these Centaurs just whip up onto the flank here to get into next turn charge into those zombies for secondaries. He does Awaken the Beast for +1 strength over here. Actually, no, I believe he did +1 resilience is what he did on this side. I mustn't have taken pictures. In combat over here, he wipes out the altar. The Gortak overruns, but it comes up really shy of the corpse cart here. Because of the building, the chariot can't actually make that overrun. He just stops, and that's pretty much it. So this is starting turn 3 for Vampire Covenant. In this one, the Vampire Count is going to go into the flank. This is the one that he marked with the Cursed Medallion, and should have no problem getting rid of this guy. The Vampire Count General here, he actually can see the flank of the Minotaurs, so we're going to declare that charge here. And the Knights, actually, that were over here, could just barely see the back rank of the Minotaurs, so they also went in. I failed the dangerous train check and lost a guy in the forest. Rest of the movements, these guys just move up a bit. The Vampire Knights get in here to come help out with this combat, and that corpse cart is just hanging back out of arc of sight of the chariot, although it doesn't really matter because the building is kind of in the way. He can only go off in this direction as it is. So we go into magic. We do Whispers of the Veil. We get the -1 resilience, -1 discipline up over here. And we also raise a bunch of zombies over on this side. I think I may have actually done that in a bubble to gain another wound back over here. But that was pretty much it. We do this combat, and I win, but he is steadfast. Even with the minus, he passes, and he's sticking there. In this one, I wipe him out, and I believe I just pivoted on the spot to face all of this nonsense over here. Wasn't too worried about this stuff, although I probably should have been a little bit more worried about getting bogged down by that chariot guy. So this is the start of turn 4 for Beast Herds here. That Doomlord goes into the flank of the Knights, and he was thinking about this here, and he decided to declare a charge into the flank of the Knights as well, just to bring all this static combat res. But if that Doomlord, really when that Doomlord, or Doombull, sorry, kills these 2 Knights with their 3 wounds, all that static combat res just goes away because that vampire is too far over here. You can't charge him. So, like I said, this chariot's going to go into the Vampire Count, and there's that one. So they all make it in, and he goes into magic. He gets off Awaken the Beast again for +1 resilience over here. As you can see, last round, it didn't actually go so well. He did manage to do 3 wounds to me, and I didn't pass any vampiric rolls, so I'm pretty injured. Probably going to fall this turn. And that's it for magic. He got the shamanism, what's it called? The pathway, the attribute over here. Scarification, that's the word I'm looking for. We go into combat. Like I said, the Minotaur wipes the floor with the knights. They die out, so all of that static combat res is gone. And the vampire general just does enough wounds over here to win combat, but they stick around again. And we go to this one over here. He reforms on the spot, I guess. The warlord overruns into the flank of the zombies. This combat, we fight it out. First round is a big pillow fight. I didn't do a single wound to him. He didn't do a single wound to me. This guy does have the Kingslayer sword, but because of scarification and the reroll failed to wound rolls, or successful to wound rolls rather, I just didn't manage. I completely bounced on him. He wins by 1, but the cart is right here, so I don't suffer it. Oh, wait a second. I'm trying to figure out what this one is. If this was already the next round. He may have actually won. I can't remember what happened here. Either way, I ended up with 2 wounds. I'm not sure how that happened. Either way, he ends up like that. He kills off the Varkalak and pivots to space here. And the start of Vampire Count's turn. We charge into them with the Knights. We pin down this guy here. And we go into the flank over here. And that's pretty much it. The zombies are stuck over here. And these zombies, I think I kind of pushed forward, continuing pressing around this way. Well, maybe not. No, we changed to face over here in case you wanted to do something with these. In case if this goes bad, essentially. We go into magic phase. Believe I raised some wounds. I raised a wound over here. And that was pretty much it. He let me get off for magic. We go into combat. He wipes out a couple bats. I wipe out those wild horns over here and overrun like so. The Doom Bull wins. I'm steadfast. I fail. I fail the leadership check on a 9 to reform to face him. And I have no BSB, so we do this one. I wipe out the Minotaurs this time. And I face this direction here just because I wasn't liking the odds of whatever this was going to happen. And there's no point in him going into this unit. So, in this combat, I did a charge and a flank. And he did a wound. I think he may have done 2 wounds. So it was he did 2 wounds, but I had a charge and a flank. So it was a complete push. I didn't do any wounds to him. And that's how things are sitting. Sort of Beastard's turn 5. He charges the Centaurs into the rear of the Vampire. He charges the Wild Horns into the Bats. And he goes to Magic. And the only spell he managed to get off was the Blackwing Totem on these Centaurs. So now they're striking at the same agility as me. I think he put this one on. It didn't really matter. Echoes of the Dark Forest onto the what do you call them? Wild Horns. We go to this one. He continues to beat up on me. I'm still steadfast, and I fail the roll again to turn him or to turn to face him here. And we go to this one. He fails. Since we're striking simultaneously, I do 5 out of 6 wounds possible to the Centaurs, wipe them out. They did get to swing. but they failed to get through the armor, and that takes that away. He did do the wounds over here, but because of the +5 to my res, and he only did 2, I win. He breaks. He flees all the way through everything, and I catch him. Oh no, wait. He stuck this time. Sorry, my mistake. He stuck on his turn, but I did win. Didn't make any vampiric rolls, and this combat, he wipes out the bats. He overruns for whatever it was worth just to get out of arc of those knights over here for my turn. And then this is the start of turn 5 for Vampire Covenant. So as you can see, these zombies are going to charge the what you call them, the Soothsayer. Just add that static combat res. Hopefully we don't bleed a lot and die. And oh, I wasn't worried about it because I was just going to issue a challenge. That's what it was. Knights move up over here to block in his BSB, and the vampire count moves back here just to, again, block in all of this stuff. He goes to we go to magic phase. We do a rise. We get one of my wounds back, and that's pretty much it. Combat, he continues to beat up on this unit, and for the third and final time, I fail the steadfast check to reform, and that was pretty much it. His turn, he didn't really have much. He did, in this combat here, this is the turn that, with the static combat res, I actually break him, he flees, and we catch him, and I go into the flank of those, the wild horns here, and yeah, so we're holding them up over there now. His turn, he didn't really have much. He didn't want to charge, and there was no real escape for this BSB, so he just sticks over here, and that's pretty much it. Actually, no, he did charge. Yeah, he decided, why not? Go for it. Maybe he can do some wounds. Maybe hold him there. He should be able to do some wounds, but we do the fighting. He bounces. I wipe him out, and over here he issues a challenge. I kill him. He sticks on steadfast, and over here he finally gets rid of the last remaining zombies and pivots to face, but he won't be able to do anything as this is his turn 6. So start of Vampire Covenant, turn 6. We just sandwich this unit. I don't even think we rolled it out. This unit was decimated to begin with. He just kind of shook hands at that point. So counted up the points, and with the secondary, I believe this game was a little while back, so I don't quite remember, but I believe the victory was a 17-3 for Vampire Covenant for this one. Really fun game. I haven't used the dual count and knight army for a very, very long time. That's kind of the first build I started with vampires, except for actually using the Brotherhood bloodline, so it was refreshing to get back into something that just smashes face, but yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed these battles, and stay tuned for the next one.